It's here. January package! Yeah! Oh, sorry. Oh, God. Oh, Jesus. Okay. What? What are you looking at? Fuck you. Alright, so, this is it. January package. Let's get a knife. There we go. Doop-a-doop-a-doop. Yeah, boy! I'll never say that again. Alright, so, for those unaware, yeah, now we're talking. Now we're playing with science. So for those unaware, every month I get a package from Vinegar Syndrome because I am one of their many subscribers. And I just got the first package of the year. It is the January 2020 package. I'm very excited. It's going to be good. So let's just get into this because we're also going to be talking about the movies themselves. This is going to be a super long review, as you might have found out from the fucking time thingy on the YouTube page. I'm already dying. This is going to be great. Okay, so, doop-a-doop-a-doop. Zombie Island Massacre. I've heard some awful things about this, which means I'm probably going to love it. As you can see, bop. Nice, sexy Blu-ray. Just beautiful to behold. In fact, let's go one step further. All right, so one sexy Blu-ray, pop it out. Nice slipcover there. Have a fun-filled vacation, kids. All right, let's get old knife here. There we go. Yeah, there we are. Okay, kids, don't do this at home. Or do. I don't care. I'm not your dad. I'm your dad, aren't I? Alright, so Zombie Island Massacre. Standard issue case. We got not a whole lot on the special features department. We'll talk about that in just a second. As you can see, we open her on up. She is Le Beautiful. And you have your alternate artwork, of course, which is very nice. I quite like the alternate artwork on this guy right here. Okay. Oh, God, it's stuck. Oh, Jesus, this is why I shouldn't do this. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. There we go. Wonderful, as usual. We got that embossed cover. Zombie Island Massacre is embossed, and then the tag on the back is embossed. Dope. As usual, Vinegar Syndrome puts so much work into all of their Blu-rays. Next up, I'm very excited for this one. I know nothing about it. I don't know anything about any of these, honestly. But I'm very excited. Flesh-Eating Mothers. Yeah, I bet you didn't know that existed. Unless you're a Vinegar Syndrome fan, in which case you knew because they announced that. Anyway, so this one, again, embossed cover. I was hoping there'd be embossed boobs. It just seems like something that I would run into. Anyway, so title's embossed. Tags embossed. Spoon full of honey, I guess, is embossed. No, what is that? Whatever that is, embossed. Little baseball players embossed, and flames are embossed. So that's super embossed. That's like, yo, that's the emboss, man. Yeah, I'll never do that again. Yes, I will. All right, so on the back, let's see here. We got commentary track with the director. Moderated by Michael Gingold. That's good. Interview with the director. Interview with producer. Okay, so a little bit better special features than Zombie Island Massacre, but that's why you don't do it that way. All right. So doop packaging. Yeah. Okay, open her on up. She is somehow unscathed and beautiful. I love this DVD art here. I love the Blu-ray art as well, but this is pretty great. This is fun. This looks like it's probably from the original poster for Flesh-Eating Mothers. They bit more. They bit. They bit off more than they could chew. And yeah, you have the old poster artwork there. That's pretty great. I almost want to get the VHS of this, like just because of how good that artwork is. All right, but we'll see how much I actually enjoy the film. All right, so that looks pretty dope. Ooh. Oh wait, this goes in the recycling. So, 1001 Erotic Knights, parts 1 and 2, which, pretty excited. Part 1 does not have a subtitle. Part 2 is, The Forbidden Tales. And you get nice busty lady on one side, nice busty lady on the other side, embossed lettering on both. Just always putting in that extra effort. Knife safety. Herculean. All right, so 1001 Erotic Knights. I like that it's a bonus feature. 1001 Erotic Knights Part 2, The Forbidden Tale. Let's see, not a whole lot. No, oh wow, no special features really. Newly scanned original theatrical trailers. So really nothing there, which is fine. That is not a complaint. It's just an observation. This is, I mean, it's an erotic movie that's not going to have a lot of special features. But as you can see, a nice cover art on the side there. Nice, nice reversible slip. Yeah, that's my pervert voice. Oliver, you're not allowed to watch this. Doop. Yeah. All right. Cool. Yeah, and as you can see, both art for both discs looks pretty dope. So that is the 3 movies for this month. I'm really excited to dig into them. I don't know if they're actually worth it yet. I mean, they probably are, because all Vinegar Syndrome is worth it. But with that being said, we're going to move on to the review portion of our program. Yes, sir. But first, a word from our sponsor. You don't have a real sponsor, but just watch this trailer for my new movie. Alrighty, that was a fun. Oh my god, I just blew that out. Okay, so let's talk about these movies. I've shaved and then grown a little bit more hair. It's been a while. So I've now watched every single movie that we unboxed from this glorious January Vinegar Syndrome unboxing. And yeah. Also, we did you like our sponsor? You should watch my movie on Amazon Prime on Valentine's Day. All right, so let's talk about these, starting with the first film in the collection, Zombie Island Massacre. Zombie Island Massacre follows a tour bus group as they visit an island off the coast of Jamaica, and after a fake zombie ceremony, start getting picked off one by one by a mysterious blue-feathered killer. Yeah? This is a film that has a nice what the fuck factor to it, but is let down somewhat by a third act swerve that honestly is a little frustrating, because it's at a certain point it's like, okay, we're not getting a zombie movie, which this is definitely not a zombie movie. We are getting a slasher film. Cool. And you're like, okay, cool. This is gonna be a slasher movie. We're gonna have your standard slasher movie third act, and then it swerves, and you're like, oh. Well, that wasn't as fun. The gore is okay, but not quite the level of great that Vinegar Syndrome describes in its write-up, but the cinematography by Robert Baldwin is mostly top-notch for this type of production. Harry Manfredini, who you might know as the composer of Friday the 13th, composed the score on this one, and, well, he did not give a shit. And his just reusing the music from Friday the 13th is honestly, it's actually better than there being an original score. It just adds to that what the fuckery that is so enjoyable about this movie, because this movie is not particularly well made beyond certain aspects. It is very low end. I'm like 98% certain mob money went into this thing. So having such a rip-off score is, especially by the composer, like the composer ripping himself off, is glorious. Our only extra is an incredibly spoilerific but tonally fun trailer. I definitely recommend watching it, but maybe watch it afterward, because it literally gives away like several main character deaths. It's very shameless in that way, but it's very cute. There's no other extras, but if you're a fan of the film, if you have fond memories of it, whatever the case may be, or if you just enjoy having these types of movies in your collection, the transfer itself is absolutely worth the price of the disc. As usual, Vinegar Syndrome, they put a lot of work into these. This, I think, is from the original negative, which I'm not even sure how they got that, but great job. The film appears to be an attempt at a star-making vehicle for David Broadnax. I'm going to say Broadnax. He's dead. He doesn't care. Broadnax wrote and produced the film and plays Paul. He also wrote and produced and starred in 1977's Mr. Deathman, in which he played suave secret agent Jeffrey Graves. And I'm not going to go on too big of a tangent here, but this is like a really weird movie that I definitely recommend you checking out. I would really like for some company to get the rights, and do a proper transfer of this movie. The Amazon Prime version is a really awful VHS rip, but it is free for Prime members, so if you have an Amazon Prime account, you can watch that right now and complete your Broadnax-ography, I guess. Interesting character. I'd be very, very curious to learn more about this guy's life. Overall, I give Zombie Island Massacre a slight recommend. It's not going to be for everyone, and its third act lets down the rest of the film in a pretty anticlimactic way. But that said, it's a very good party movie and is just sleazy and weird enough to make for a fun addition to any collector's shelf.
The good news. Now we got some real protection.
Up next is Flesh-Eating Mothers. Flesh-Eating Mothers is about a bunch of two-timing mothers who get a venereal disease that turns them into psychotic cannibals. And if that ain't a plot worth watching, I just don't know what is. And you know what? It ain't bad. It ain't particularly good either, but Flesh-Eating Mothers is just so charmingly low-end and bizarre that it makes for at least one solid viewing, or at least or several good party viewings. It's like Zombie Island Massacre. It is a party movie. It is not something that you just want to throw on and enjoy by yourself, but it is very fun to watch with other people. I watched about half of it with my wife, and we had a good time, and then I watched the rest by myself, and You know, to be fair, I was tired. This was an aggressively cheap production. At a $10,000 budget, it's shocking how much quality work was put into the special effects, which for the most part feel like something out of a Tom Savini joint, and yet were created by artists who didn't really go on to do anything particularly exciting, which, I mean, you just look at these special effects and you're like, hot damn, this is incredible stuff. This must have been made by some luminary of the industry, and then not really. I mean, they mostly had careers afterward, sure, but it's nothing super baller, which is a little shocking, to be honest. The humor is all over the place. The cartoon venereal disease, veal conversation, and the more ridiculous characters are a lot of fun. But often the jokes are either too underwritten or poorly placed. That said, as I previously mentioned, if you're super awake or have friends over, this should be an enjoyable watch, and I think you can get past the jokes that fail and enjoy the jokes that work. This disc has the most extras of the month, which isn't saying a whole lot since it's really the only one with extras. Blood and Laughs is an interview with director James Martin that really makes you feel like the guy doesn't want to be talking about this movie and would much rather people care about his more artistic exploits. He honestly appears to have disdain for flesh-eating mothers, although he never says as much. Still, he's polite about it, and it's a nice 14-minute look at the film and the filmmaking process and what went into this tiny, tiny movie. The other 14-minute interview, entitled Hungry to Make Movies, has producer Peter Illich speak further on the filmmaking process and, in greater detail, the pains of distributing the movie. Both interviews are pretty low energy, but have enough info in them to make them worthwhile. Finally, there's a feature-length commentary with James Martin that is moderated by Michael Gingold, and it's absolutely perfect for fans of the film or those who just want to peek into low-budget filmmaking. It delves into a ton of details, and thanks to Gingold being such a solid interviewer, stays fairly energetic. I'm still holding on to my theory that Martin really dislikes talking about the film, but he's a champ throughout the commentary and keeps things pretty positive. Solid stuff. Flesh-Eating Mothers is, at best, entertaining, and at worst is a bit of a drag at times, but I think if you're just looking for a good party movie or just love schlocky, borderline no budget nonsense, then you'll have a good time. So worthy addition to your shelf, and you know, with that cover, it'll look good there. So there's that.
Yes, you wouldn't want the house to burn down.
Now let's move on to some porn.
The Sultan loved his wife and trusted her completely.
I'm in love with you guys. I'm not really acclimated to reviewing porn yet. This is my first all-out hardcore porno title that I'm reviewing ever. So, you know, if that's your bag and you come here looking for those, let me know how I can improve the experience. Please, in the comments, let me know what I should include or how I can make better reviews for the adult film side of things. I appreciate that. Considering I'm getting these for the rest of the year, I gotta get used to this whole reviewing fuck films thing. 1001 Erotic Knights basically tells the story of a sultan here called Chaka Khan who no longer trusts women because his wife was fucking his general and they were plotting to take over his kingdom. So he has one woman from the kingdom share his bed every night, and the next day she's executed, which pretty fucked up. Anyway, the latest girl is Scheherazade, who, if you're aware of the original framing story for 1001 Nights, you'll know as the storyteller there as well. And really, it's basically the entire framing device is exactly how the original story works. I mean, you know, it's not a one-to-one. It's still, you know, the fucking version. But considering that it's, you know, just, it's a porno, like, they stick pretty close. I don't know why they had to call the Sultan Chaka Khan, but Chaka Khan. Famed porn actress Annette Haven stars as Scheherazade, and she really proves why she was so popular at the time. Very commanding presence, very soothing voice. If you're making a movie that is supposed to be more than just fucking and it's supposed to be erotic, she nails it, man. Overall, the various vignettes that make up the stories, they range in quality, they range in sex acts, they range wildly between each and every one of them. The one with the fisherman, it's basically the story of the genie, is a little weird, and it's more than just the fact that they decided to not actually show a genie. Basically, this fisherman, he gets 2 wishes from a genie, and he decides he wants to bone zone this chick who he's been watching masturbate with a chair, and they fuck. And then he also gets to fuck her 2 daughters, which is weird. And it's not that he wants to bone zone the daughters that's really problematic. It's the fact that they borderline bone zone each other during the scene. I'm not saying that incest is bad. I'm just not saying that. incest is bad. My only big complaint, though, is how much of the film is held together by the narrator. While it's a great narration, it makes the film feel very piecemeal, which it very well could have been. Also, the logic of the penultimate sex scene before Haven gets her sex scene, which of course, finishes off the movie. It's weird. It's a very odd. It's basically the film moves forward in time and to a different country, and I'm not really sure why. I mean, I think it's a funny gag. The actual final joke is really good. I'm just not sure why it's there, and it makes it feel more piecemeal, which is, really is the one problem with the movie. It just feels like a bunch of scenes strung together with a framing device. For those watching specifically for the sex scenes, they're all very well shot and clear and artistically composed. And honestly, I mean, that's a really big part of what makes this kind of movie so enjoyable and, I would assume makes people want to collect them, is it's a throwback to an era when these porno films were shot on 35 millimeter film. They were properly exposed. They were framed. They had different setups. It wasn't just some guy with a camcorder, saying, fuck, oh, fuck.
Yes.
Again and again. It's, a well-made film. And I think that's something that we sadly miss in our sleaze in this era. This is a film that is meant to be legitimately erotic, and I think that it succeeds and fails in equal measure, but overall puts together some very well shot, artistically put together scenes. And Vinegar Syndrome, of course, put so much work into preserving this print that it's absolutely pristine. It's second to none, and so if mid-80s higher budgeted porn is your thing, I think you'll enjoy yourself. Haven doesn't really get as much of a scene as many would probably like, but I think the overall quality is high enough for this to be a recommend for adult film fans.
Oh, shit. Not again.
So that all said, please let me know in the comments if I need to add anything to my commentary or whatever while I get acclimated to watching all these fuck films.
Good evening, my lord and master. It is my pleasure and it is my honor to serve you. I have but one talent. I tell stories. My name is Scheherazade.
In 1001 Erotic Knights Part 2, Carrie Fox replaces Annette Haven, which is a little disappointing since Haven is a pretty tough act to follow, and that kind of paves the way for this whole film, to be honest. This one sets a more offbeat tone than the previous one. It's a lot more jokey and somehow even more piecemeal. Where the first film mostly takes itself seriously, this one has an even more skimpy and frankly confusing plot, and a wink at the camera Frenchman as the Sultan.
It's good to be the Sultan.
It does carry over the weird sister fetish thing, though, so there's that.
You really are. Both charming young women.
Jesus Christ, they even have a stuffed bunny rabbit.
Rhymes with pickle. Niggle. Fickle. Sickle. Tickle.
Don't like that.
Not minors. We're over 18.
Movie. Having the lesbian sisters say that after 69ing each other, it doesn't help.
The Sultan has an image to maintain. It wouldn't look right.
Those looking for more bonerific reasons to watch this film, who don't really care about the shabby structure, you get a nice mixture of sex scenes. There's plenty of explicit content for you, all types of stuff. Bunny Ample has a really good scene. There's a very explicit orgy sequence, and if you're looking for some very half-assed BDSM, well, this is the movie for you. There is similarly artistic camera work during the sex scenes, but overall, this whole production still feels like a pale imitation of the first film. In addition, it's basically a remake rather than a sequel, but takes the subject matter in a more haphazard fashion filled with odd non sequiturs in place of scene transitions. Overall, this is kind of a get-what-you-pay-for kind of film. It's not particularly great by comparison to the first film in the series. That said, I would say it probably has far more explicit sex scenes. It's more standard porno, if that makes any sense. Whereas the first film is really aiming almost for more of a feminine audience. You know, it's really going for more of that erotic nature. This one is a bit more inclined towards the straight up hardcore pornography aspect of things. If that's what you're looking for, cool. I kind of have to recommend the whole set because you get two movies for the price of one, and the one movie that's really good in the set is good enough that I think it's worth the price. I do wish there were more extras, as there's really only trailers in this set, but I also understand that getting extras for adult films of this era is probably really challenging, and just getting the film and being able to restore it to this level of quality has got to be a major hassle. So with that, I mean, great job, Vinegar Syndrome, as usual. They put together a really solid package that, while, again, skimpy on extras, has a really solid pornographic film in there that is a nice throwback to the era when these movies were made on 35mm film stock and were well composed and artfully done and all that, yada, yada, yada. Good job. I guess what I'm getting at is Part 2's cheap qualities are XXX'd out of the equation. Yeah, I'll never say that again. So with that being said, January was a good enough month. I would not say that it was stellar. It did not go beyond my expectations, but it was four movies, 3 solid packages. Yeah, none of them, again, blew my mind, but I don't hate that I own them. At very least, they all make for interesting pieces in the collection. If people see them on my shelf, they're going to have a lot of questions, which I always enjoy because I'm a hateful person. So good stuff so far. I look forward to what Vinegar Syndrome has coming out. I've kind of heard tell of a few things that they have or are working on, and I'm very excited. Next month, we're getting Extro 3, which is super exciting. I love Extro. I've never actually seen Extro 2, so I'll have to check that out beforehand. And we get a few more movies that are guaranteed to be schlocky nonsense that will probably just be another Flesh-Eating Mothers, but that's okay because, party movies. We all need a party movie. And a fuck film. Anyway, if you'll excuse me, I've got to go take another shit.